Right, so hello and welcome back to the channel. Now, for today's video, I really want to talk about the team who I think are in the most amount of trouble in the whole Premier League. No, it's not even Chelsea. And it's not even the clubs near the bottom of the league, Southampton, Everton, Leeds. As Sir Alex Ferguson used to say, lads, it's Tottenham. I mean, the club right now are in a shambolic period. I mean, they just lost 4-3 to Liverpool, trailing 3-0 after 15 minutes, coming back into the game and then losing to a Diogo Jota goal in the 92nd minute after they scored an equaliser in the 91st minute. And the week before that, they were 5-0 down in 21 minutes and ended up losing 6-1 away to Newcastle. Now, granted, those are probably the two toughest away trips in the Premier League, but I mean, come on. And these two results, they have been coming for ages. And the collapse of Tottenham, if anyone was really paying attention, has actually been coming for a while. Now, let me explain. Yes, I know what you're going to say. Well, how can it be a collapse? They haven't won a trophy. Well, it's not really about that. It's about where the club were and where the club are going. And they're not going anywhere. Now, let's not overcomplicate this either. The man to blame for this is Daniel Levy. Don't get me wrong, he has actually advanced the club in a few different ways in his 2 decades in charge there. He has made them a regular top 4, if not challenging for top 4, sort of contenders in that regard. He's given them the best stadium in the world, and that's not even a question. And he's marketed them in a way that Tottenham have become a bigger brand and a bigger club because of him. But that's not really what the club should have been wanting to do. Now, yes, it's all well and good. You've got the best stadium in the world. You've made the club bigger. You've got them challenging for the top 4. You've got one of the best strikers in the world. He's a homegrown player. But where is your trophies? What direction are you going in? He literally prioritises getting Champions League football over winning any trophies. It's not good enough from him. He's also got this massive ego about him. He's got to be the one that says, you're gone, you're gone. He took over from Lord Sugar. What was Lord Sugar's famous phrase before then? You're fired. He wants to tell everyone, Jose Mourinho, you're fired. Antonio Conte, you're fired. He'll do it to anyone because he's got a massive ego and he doesn't surround himself with football people. He just wants whatever is best for the business, but not for the club. It must be so painful for the Tottenham fans as well, because he doesn't even reinvest in the squad. His whole aim is to, yes, grow some talent through the academy, which is all well and good when you get Harry Kane, but then when you get other players such as a Harry Winks, who doesn't live up to expectations, and you keep him around for so long until he's worth nothing, what's the point in that? He keeps players far too long, the likes of Jan Vertonghen, Toby Alderweireld. He doesn't move players on. And it must be so frustrating for Tottenham fans to see that there is no investment in the current squad. Before you come at me as well with, what about last summer when they spent loads of money on Richarlison, Romero, even Pedro Porro in January? Other than, I'm going to say, Kulusevski and Bentancur, since they last challenged for the league against Leicester, name me one decent signing they've had. Just one. And you can't do it because there hasn't been one that has had a good enough impact on the squad other than maybe Kulusevski and Bentancur. And even that's a push. Now, Tottenham need to find an identity and it's got to be quick. But the only way that they get that is with a new manager. And here are the managers that are the favourites and who I think should actually take the job. The current frontrunner for the job is former Liverpool and Real Madrid Spanish midfielder Xabi Alonso at 3-1. Then you've got the likes of Brendan Rodgers at 4-1, Julian Nagelsmann and Vincent Kompany at 9-2, a return for Mauricio Pochettino at 12-1, and Ange Postecoglou and Roberto De Zerbi at 16-1. From that list, I think the best person Tottenham could get, of course, is Julian Nagelsmann. Now, Ralph Ragnick has recently come out saying that he is trying to convince him to become sporting director at Tottenham Hotspur and make Nagelsmann the manager, which would be a dream scenario for Tottenham, but I don't see that happening at all. And I think the best case scenario out of all those managers mentioned would be Ange Postecoglou. Now let me tell you why. Now Ange has over 25 years experience in football management, and as well as that, what Tottenham needs right now is a complete rebuild. And yes, I think that means you've got to sell Harry Kane. I don't care how much it's for, you've got to get rid of him. A bit like Philippe Coutinho at Liverpool. Yes, I know he's your best player, I know he's been your best player for ages, but I also think he's holding you back, and I think that you need a complete rebuild. I'll get more into that Harry Kane situation in a second, but Ange's literally done this at Celtic. When he took over at Celtic, they were a complete mess. They'd just messed up 10 in a row, all because they didn't want to spend any money. Ange came in and he lost a few of his first games to the likes of Hearts and Livingston, and it looked like Rangers were running away with it, but he recruited well, he used his knowledge of the Japanese league to get some of their stars over to Celtic, and they won the league pretty comfortably. And as well as that, they're on course to get another treble this year, with them playing fantastic football. The only reason that he's maybe not as sought out after, and that he's got a wee bit of doubt about him, is because his performances in Europe weren't fantastic. Now I think he's your man, Tottenham fans, but I actually think you'll do very well to try and persuade him to leave Celtic, because he absolutely loves it there. He also plays high-tempo, quick attacking football, which is very easy on the eye as well. Now, I don't think Harry Kane can do that. Yes, he's a fantastic player, but he likes to drop in, get the ball, and he likes to play the long passes. He doesn't like to be in the box, pressing forward. That's what Ange really has in Kyogo for Celtic at the minute. I think your best bet is just to sell him. He seems unhappy. You can make a decent amount of money from him before his contract runs up in the next year or so. And after that, I think the best man for the rebuild is Ange. I think he's going to do wonders with this rebuild. Now for the rebuild, you need a new goalkeeper. I've always been a massive fan of Hugo Lloris, but I cannot deny, past 2-3 years, he has not been good enough. And he's got too many mistakes. You can have the odd one, but you can't keep on getting away with it. The replacement for him should either be Sanchez from Brighton, he's fallen a bit out of favour with De Zerbi, and you might be able to get him on the cheap from there. Reina from Brentford, who won't sign a new contract with them and looks to be leaving in the summer, so who knows, you could get a good price on him from there. Or the Porto goalkeeper Costa, who is just a fantastic ball-playing goalkeeper, which the Premier League seems to love them. Now Spurs fans, I'm going to make you very happy. I don't think you should be playing a 5-back. I think you should go back to a 4-back and play a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1, however you really want to phase that. Sound good? And I think that your wing-backs, or now full-backs, you've already bought the right-back, and no, it's not Pedro Porro, who is useless and you should really be getting your money back from him. It's Jed Spence. Why did you send him out on loan? And then for your left back, it has to be Sesson. You have to play him. He's been hyped up so much, he's got to play. And if he doesn't perform well after this year, that's when you bin him off. I would bin off all your centre-backs. Yes, even Romero, who I know Spurs fans loves, but he's too much of a liability. He gets booked all the time, he's reckless, and he's not as good as people think. Now, 3 defenders that come to the top of my mind would be getting back Chris Smalling into the Premier League, who I think would be a brilliant veteran signing for you, calm, composed, and should be in the England team. As well as that, speaking of an English defender, Mark Gahey from Crystal Palace, a young, talented centre-back who I think would be a future captain of Tottenham. And then as well as that, Benjamin Pavard. You can use him at right back, you can use him at centre-back. He's got a year left on his deal at Bayern. Who knows? For the Spurs midfield, it's not as bad as it seems. It's not brilliant, especially with Bentancur being out till November. So I would suggest signing these three guys, any one of them. Paulinho, fantastic season at Fulham, wins the ball back, breaks up play and calms the tempo down when he needs to, but he can make a forward advancing pass. I think he's a better version of Højbjerg. And then you need an attacking midfielder. It's so painfully obvious. And the two that spring to mind for that, James Maddison, Morgan Gibbs-White. If Maddison doesn't go to Newcastle, he should come to you. And Morgan Gibbs-White, especially if Forest go down, he's your man. And in this rebuild, there's no Harry Kane. And now you can finally use Richarlison in that number 9 position. And he would be the perfect striker for Ange Postecoglou. He'd be brilliant for him. He's a pressing player who can run in behind and links up play really well. He'd finally get his chance in this scenario. And for your wingers as well, the likes of Lucas Moura is going to leave. I'd give Dan Juba a chance at some point, but for 2 extra bodies in there, I would be getting Eze from Crystal Palace and Brennan Johnson from Nottingham Forest. Brennan Johnson, one of the quickest players in the league, just adds that different element up top, and Eze, a fantastic technical player when he's on his day. Now, let me know if you agree, disagree on my manager choice, on the style of play, or the players that I think should be brought in. Do you actually think Levy is doing a good job? Please let me know in the comments below. And if you like the video, funnily enough, give it a like, give it a subscribe, and give it a share around. It would really mean the world to me. Now, thank you so much if you got it this far, and I'll see you later. Cheers.